Good morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser. It is a Friday, and it is reckless as always. You know what's weird, Kazi, is I normally don't care. I open the cabinet, grab a mug, but ever since we started doing this, there's a certain days, certain mugs. I'm like, who the hell stole the mug? Guys, it's due in rotation tomorrow kind of thing. And yesterday I was like, oh, shit, it's dirty. So I literally had to wash a mug to be able to bring it to the show, and that's the
just like opening the dishwasher, hoping it's in there. Like, where the fuck is that mug gone? But if that's the biggest problem you have in life, to find the correct mug for a certain morning show, then fucking life's pretty darn good, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it was like Angie or somebody like grabbed the grumpy one or something the day before. What do we have there?
Pumpkin
spice. Does your wife know you have her mug?
I have a lot of mugs. This is one of those mornings where you just look in the counter with your eyes closed and pick up a mug.
See, that's what I normally do. Whatever it has like a handle and can hold hot beverages is what you grab. But yeah, now it's like, on these 3 days, I have to make sure it is a specific one. So good morning, Ryan, Cersei, everybody gathering around on a Friday morning. No Anand this morning. So it's Kazi and I going through the Liverpool stuff. Obviously, we're going to talk about a lot about the press conference. We'll probably go in order is probably like the easiest way. We were just talking about how his press conferences are a bit more vanilla compared to Klopp.
Yeah, it's a bit of he just plays it all with a straight bat. He's just very business-like, which, listen, that's his style, and I've got no issue with that. You know what I mean? It's going to take some adjusting after you've went from 9 years of Jurgen Klopp, who's probably one of the most charismatic managers in the world. Yeah. And he seems like the greatest human being. So he's just a very business-like man, and that's fine. There's no right or wrong way to win football matches, is there? So I think we'll all get on board with him being straight and not really giving much away, as long as he keeps winning footy matches, isn't it? So
yeah, I really don't care if he entertains the media or he's interesting or anything like that. It does feel more like a press conference of like the Department of Education or something like that, where it's just like they go out there, give the answers. It's not meant to be entertaining. It's just he's going out there. But he doesn't have like the charisma and maybe the comfort of Klopp, but you can kind of tell he is like, you can sense the confidence.
I feel, for me, mate, again, I felt like this in all his press conferences. It feels like he's been here to just do a job. And his job to win footy matches, and that's by the way, that's fine. He's not going to sit here and go, I adore the club and all this. Like Jurgen really maybe. Listen, he's still new, so maybe he does kind of ingrain himself into the city and the culture and the environment and stuff. That's, by the way, I live with Rafa Benitez, fella, who was exactly the same as this guy. You know what I mean, in terms of his press conferences and stuff like that. But he just feels like he's just coming and says, this is a job, and I'm here to win matches, and I'm going to continue to win matches. And there's no right or wrong way of doing things, is there? You know what I mean? Where Klopp
don't you think it would be like a little not only corny, but if he comes out like constantly saying, I think he's almost like doing, I don't know if it's by design, but it's like a lot less stuff to compare to Klopp, which is what I kind of like, where, if he said about the city and all that, we'd be like, oh, you're saying that about Klopp, this. Or if he said something like in a similar style, oh, you're doing that by Klopp, do this. So it's almost like there is less room for comparison, which is what I really like, because like people are still watching like what Klopp is having for breakfast and shit for some odd reason. So, in that kind of a world, I kind of like it that he kind of like distinguishes himself in terms of like style and stuff like that. You're like, yep, this is what you're getting with this guy. He's not trying to be anybody else.
Exactly, and that's all we want out of him, is just to be himself, just be you, the best version of you. And if this is the best version of you, I've got no problem, fella.
Yeah,
football matches and don't concede goals. You crack on and do whatever you like. Do you know what I mean? It makes my life a lot easier. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, again, we're so ingrained and used to Jurgen. And I know a lot of, course, our US fans are kind of new fans as well, who've only know Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. Yeah,
we have experience like Rafa Benitez and Gerard Houllier and stuff like that. We've kind of just do exactly the same what kind of Slot's doing a little bit in terms of just straight batting it. Tell you exactly what he'll answer your question straight, but he's not going to give you any sound bites. He's not going to give
you used to, like, not that far back, like you would get quotes and stuff like that, but I don't remember. Like, was the pre-match press conferences and everything like that, this full-blown, like the entire transcript and stuff like that out there like 20 years ago?
And it was a lot more. It was a lot of on Sky News. I remember Sky News used to
It was just like, like it was like a snippet.
Yeah, little snippets of it. Yeah, and then I remember you could read it in the Echo in Liverpool. I think you could read them if I remember correctly. And then it was kind of to see what the manager said. But of course, with the rise of social media and stuff, and anything that Liverpool can get a click on social media sites, then they're gonna put it out, aren't they? Really? You know, I actually turned on YouTube this morning and you fucking seen Andy Robertson and Joe Gomez painting people. Okay. Like that's
there was something there that I didn't get to watch it yet. I saw a thing of like the FC 25 ratings. We actually talked about them on Wednesday being revealed. I have not watched the video yet. I mean, we get a lot more exposure. Like you get to watch the whole thing and get a better feel of the person. I feel like in the past you got quotes and you got to figure those were quotes that were like quotes to be taken out of an entire press conference. So you don't even know if it was the tone of the press conference or something that the media took out. I feel like we get a lot more. We get the actual person a lot more now, as opposed to like one quote they gave away in the press conference that the dude from Echo liked and wanted to put down, kind of a thing. But a couple of things. I mean, some of these were like beach balls, I thought, in terms of like how he would answer them. Like if he gave me the question, I could have already told you what he's going to say. Kelleher, in terms of, him saying he'd be more worried if he didn't like being benched and stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty much a freebie for Slot to answer that, right?
Yeah. Like I don't. Yeah. I mean, like,
what is he gonna say?
Gonna say? Oh yeah, I had him when he came back off international break. What the fuck are you talking to? And all. What do you think he's gonna say? You know what I mean? Like, I love that, by the way. Like how someone asked that question to him, and you're like, what do you think he's gonna say? Let's get it right. I expect Kelleher to start the West Ham game next week.
Yeah.
I do expect that. There's probably hopefully, fingers crossed, there could be a few dead rubbers for him in the Champions League if Liverpool get the job done early doors. Liverpool, there might be a couple of games there for him in the Champions League, the League Cup and the FA Cup games. There's an argument that Kelleher could play 10, 12 games still this season. And I know it's not enough for him, and I completely understand that. But, I understand as well why Kelleher would be pissed off with the other goalkeeper deal, the Mamardashvili deal. I would understand why he's pissed off, because I feel like he must feel like himself that, I played the majority. He played more games than Alisson last season.
It has to be like pretty even at least, right?
Yeah, it's close. I think he just pipped him probably by a few, but and so we're like, well, he's done enough to in a move out, and Liverpool haven't accepted a deal, and that's Liverpool's prerogative, by the way, not to accept a bid if that they don't think it's satisfactory enough. But there's a part, again, I do think from the club's part that if Kelleher wanted to go in the summer, there has to be a bit of goodwill of like what he's done.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, as a club, the business side of things is, you got something, you got an asset worth something, so you want to sell that. But at the same time, do you try to, I don't want to say like take care of the player, but in that sense, kind of like, meet him halfway to make him happy. But if you start doing that, we've always talked about this in the past, right? Like you can't always be the smartest guy in the room and stuff like that. Once other clubs know you do that, then you're never going to get actual value for players. Isn't it like a slippery slope?
Yeah, that's a point, yes. But I think the argument is Liverpool made really good money last year on sales in the summer. Really good money. And there could have been one there where you went, and you just lower your asking price by 4 or 5 million just to, help me out here. I've done fucking great for you. I've won trophies for you. I've had big moments in football matches for Liverpool. Last year, played a massive part in why Liverpool finished third, which we all would have took at the start of the season. I do want to keep outlining that as well, by the way.
Yeah.
And I feel like Liverpool could have said okay. And because there's also a part where you could use Kelleher as a selling point to other players and go, if it doesn't work out for you, then don't worry, we'll find you the club. You know what I mean? We can work with you like we did with Queeve and you know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's a bit like the Bobby Clark one. There you go, well, you done well by us. We got good money for you. We'll find you a good club to go to, kind of thing. I do feel like that can happen.
Yeah, but if they came for Bobby Clark and gave 4 million, we're not going to be like, you know what, kid, you've done well. Why don't you go improve yourself, do better for yourself, and sell them? You still want to get
good money,
value for,
I get
relative
that.
value.
But sometimes I do feel like there has to be I do feel like they have to care about the player a little bit. I do. And if the player wanted to go in the summer, if he made his case felt, which I'm sure he did in the summer, going, I want out, I want a first team move, and I want to play first team football. I think Liverpool could have facilitated that. If Liverpool are trying to ask for 25, 30 million, no, mate, it does feel like a lot, but also does it feel, I don't know. I think 20 million is about right. I know Forest tried on the last day, didn't even try to offer 10 million on Matt Turner or something like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't think there were a lot of people knocking on the door either. I mean, we did the same thing with Sepp, right? And we talked a lot about it over the summer. Putting the value up high and stuff. But then it was negotiated. He went for a lot less than, not a lot less, but he went for less than what it was initially bid. But that's how you negotiate. It's not like there were 4 or 5 teams vying for him and we were like, nope, nothing less than 40 million or something. And that's why he didn't go. I think he's more upset on the fact that not that we did not sell him or, we overvalued him, but the fact that we actually signed somebody who, based on the price tag, is more seen as the future as opposed to him maybe taking over from Ali.
Which is fair, which is completely fair, by the way, that he feels like that, because he feels like I've done my part here. I think I've proved myself to, am I the future owner? And there's also a part as well. Ali looks like no sign of slowing down. I've still got my doubts that this Mamardashvili kid will ever play for Liverpool. I do have my doubts. I really do.
Possible.
Ali shows no signs of slowing down. That's why I thought it was a slight premature to do the keeper now. Unless Ali has kind of said, I want to leave. But then Ali comes out and does an interview and says, no, I want to stay here forever. It's fucking great. I love it. So it's it didn't make sense to me. We'll find that out in the summer, of course, or in a couple of years.
I took that as an insurance thing when the Ederson deal happened. The whole Ederson ordeal with him, them coming front and they were like, hey, you know what? We got no backup plan. Whereas now you have a backup plan. And like you're saying, it might be you bought one of the most promising young goalkeepers in Europe. So you can turn around and sell him for the same, if not 10, 20 million more and keep Ali, who's probably, if he wanted to actually stay and play, could play for another probably 5-6 seasons.
Yeah.
I know Alice is oh, I love it over here. The family loves it and stuff like that. But when it comes to contract negotiation and getting an extension and wages and stuff like that, that could fall apart if there's a Saudi team over there giving twice the wages.
And that's also another fair point. I think I understood where Liverpool come from, but I do think it was just slightly premature. But that's the Kelleher situation. I do feel sorry for him. I really do. I do feel sorry for him. I think Liverpool could have facilitated the move. I also understand the Liverpool case of we don't want to sign a keeper right now. We just let Adrian go. We're not letting Kelleher go. Then you're bringing in 2 lads basically to come in. You know what I mean? It's they promoted. Is it the other kid? Jaros, is it? Your Pitaluga?
Jaros, yeah.
Jaros is kind of third choice right now. And then you look at, if you get rid of Kelleher, do you want to do Jaros and then one other keeper? It's we've got 2 new keepers, then Alisson's injured. It's just all a bit of a weird mess for him. But I do feel like Liverpool could have facilitated the move. I really do. I do think, by the way, if the price was lower, I do think there would have been buyers for Kelleher. Definitely.
Yeah, I think if somebody came in really close, we would have. I don't think anybody came near close. I mean, they're giving 10 million on Turner. We're we don't want Turner. Why would we want that kind of a deal? So I think Serzi is right. I mean, here's the thing. Maybe somebody else with a better injury record, you could roll the dice and say, you know what, we'll make Jaros our second and go through the season like this. I don't think you can afford to. And Ryan says, I love these purchases for the future. And yeah, I mean, we complain, bitch and moan that there's no, backup plan for Mo and Van Dijk and all these people. So now there's a backup for a plan for Ali. I mean, I can see why Kelleher wouldn't be too thrilled to see that, but that's all natural. And I think his response was I mean, it is what it is. He said in the best possible way, it is what it is. He has to suck it up and, play for the team, which, obviously Kelleher has done in the past. And I mean, forget playing for the team. He kind of has to anyway. This is not a guy that can, the goalkeeper thing is a total different ordeal. It's not man, give me some 15, 20 minutes at the end of a game or something. You either play or you don't.
I was a goalkeeper growing up, and of course not the level.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Time out. You were a goalie?
I was a goalie, yeah. For 8 years.
Really? No offense, aren't you a little short for a goalie?
I mean,
this is coming from me, mind you, but I'm just saying.
I was gonna say I'm 6'1", I am.
No, you're not, are you?
Yeah, you've met me.
I was sitting at the bar, so maybe the stool must have been really high.
He was just trying to get a drink because he's so short. Hi, barman, like that with his hand. But yeah, I'm 6'1". I was a keeper. Yeah, I was just a keeper for years, and as you just said, it is I always like to say with the goalkeeper. It's 10 players plus one. because they do everything separately. So when you have your starting 11, it's 10 players plus one because the keeper's so unique. It's such a unique position. It's, you know what I mean? It's like they are a part of the team, but they're not. They do separate training on their own. They do go, separate squad kind of rotation on their own. And then they come out and then that's when the manager just shouts them over, hey, we need goalies, come here. And the goalies just come over and, you know what I mean, and waddle over kind of thing. Because, again, they just do their own separate kind of thing. So, yeah, man, I feel sorry for Kelleher, I do. But I also think as well, might be a January move as well for him. They could be a little January move because, I doubt it. Because Liverpool don't do a lot of business in January.
Yeah.
But if he impresses in the League Cup games and impresses hopefully in a couple of dead rubbers in the Champions League, then you never know.
We'd be pissed though, wouldn't we? If the season is going well, you're all in these competitions and they move, right? We would be like, what the fuck?
Of course, but again, there's a part of someone comes in and it's 25, 30 million that you go, well, it's a fucking sub goalkeeper. Any chance the fucking first one could be fifth for 5 months and then we can worry about it in the summer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then if not, then
I hear you.
Then this Yaros, who just got picked for the Euro squad, best be half decent. You know what I mean? So,
he looked great in the preseason, but preseason is a lot less stress and a lot less. So you can't put too much weight on that. It's more important how the team feels about a goalie than what we feel about the goalie. Because when you have a bad goalie, I think we all play with some poor goalies behind us. At one point or another, everything changes, right? Like your entire confidence level changes. You're like, nope, I can't even allow a shot. It's just kind of like the whole confidence level, how you play changes based on who's playing behind you. So it's really more important how the team feels about him, I think, more than like how the fans feel about him. But Ryan gets off on great financial decisions. I'll leave the rest out. And yes, I gotta throw the link for this. John has been asking for this cap forever, so I will have to see. John says, I had a feeling Kazi was a member of the goalkeeper union, but personally pegged him as a midfielder.
I have no position. I can play anywhere. That's the difference. I'm one of those ones.
The Milner of American Scouser.
I just like, left wing, whatever, cutting in on the right, easy. You know what I mean? It's very nice. I actually love going home to England with my nephew, because my nephew never seen me and my brother kick a ball to each other. And we went to the park and we were like 40 yards away. And we were just spraying passes to each other. And of course, we still got the touch and stuff and we're like picking each other out. And it's just my nephew's like 10 just standing there going. Like,
you guys play in the Prem?
like he hasn't seen us kick a ball before. We were just spraying passes to each other. It was amazing. Yeah.
Let's get to a couple of those. We were kind of talking about this. He actually mentioned that a lot of the players getting 90 minutes was a good thing out of the ones that got 90 minutes and stuff like that. And that's one tone I get from him. And like I said, we talked about this right before we went on air, but there's a lot less like complaining, whining about things in general, like time of games and number of games and stuff like that. Is it because it's too early and he hasn't had the full dosage yet? Or he's kind of like making a point of not making any excuses?
No, I think he hasn't had the full dosage. I do. Again, his job looks very fucking easy right now. You've won 3, played 3, won 3, and haven't conceded the goal. You must sit there at night thinking this is meant to be difficult. This isn't fucking difficult. This is easy. I just made them not concede any goals in 10 minutes and let the lads go out and just play a bit of footy, and they look great. Do you know what I mean? There's a little. He was literally. Jürgen didn't leave us, by the way, in like the worst state possible.
Yeah,
he left us with loads of boss players. He's walked down the first day and went, "These are fucking boss." Like, that's all I need these guys to do is just not concede in the first 15 minutes of footy matches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's helped massively. Who would have thought it? That if you don't concede goals, you could win a lot more footy matches. You know what I mean? So there is that. I do think, because the next sentence he mentions is that, oh yeah, by the way, we play 7 games in 22 days.
Yeah.
And he was like, and you can clearly see like that was like a thing for him. Like, oh, that's been on his mind. I think he's breaking down football matches like I do. I break my football matches down in blocks. I've got to play these 7, and then there's another international break. Mm-hmm. So it's like, let me get out of these 7, get me to the international break, and let me get to the other side. Then get to the November one. And then, do you know what I mean? And just break them down in parts. So he's played 3-1-3. He isn't into it yet. He did also say that he's used to just playing the first 11 all the time. So he's going to have to adjust to rotating which is going to be really nice for the players who we said, you're going to get loads of game time here. That's going to be really nice to hear. The last thing you want
let me ask you that, because I was going to ask you how you would want us to get rotated over like the next few games, which will bring us to this weekend's conversation in terms of who we expect to see in the starting 11. But then he kind of like gets that question and he says, hold on, where is that? My former teams, we were actually able to play almost every game with the same players, but it's a different league. I might have to adjust to that. It also depends on what they show, and by what they show, I mean in terms of physique. In the first 3 games, we were in really strong physique, but we only played 1 each 7 days. Now they have a point to prove, and I assume that they all want to play every game. Do we take this as... So it says, so if they want to, they have to show up every time, also in quality, but especially in work rates. But we have more than 11 players and stuff like that. I get some feedback from medical staff, performance staff, and whoever they are. I don't know what that means, whoever they are, about what's the best thing to do. And we make the decision before every game. So does this pretty much mean that he will go with the starting 11 that we've seen as much as possible, unless he doesn't have to? Like when I read that, when I listen to that, that's the impression I got. But clearly, it can't be that, right?
I don't know. It's so hard. We're kind of reading into it, aren't we, a little bit? You know what I mean? I feel like he's going to have to take a lot of advice off the people around him in terms of the medical staff. By the way, with Jürgen used to play by gospel. When the medical staff said that he can't play, he wouldn't play him. Like Jürgen was very much like that. And I do feel like he's going to have to listen to the medical advice a little bit here. I think the next few games are pivotal for Liverpool. And not just because we're in a title race, and I'm not calling the title race after 3 days in, but Liverpool want to challenge for the league, and this cup game is coming up. But these games are favourable. I keep coming back to this. When do these lads get their minutes? When does Gakpo get his minutes? When does Nunes, Jones? When do these lads get their minutes then? Because you can sit there continuing to play the same lads. By the way, they're winning footy matches, and I understand you don't want to change it, and I completely understand that. There's 2 ways of looking at this, Tim. I was having to think about this morning. There's 2 ways of looking at it. Liverpool's next 2 home games are Forest at home and Bournemouth at home.
Yep.
Arsenal's next 2 matches are Spurs away and City away.
Yep.
There's an argument here. Before you do your rotation, you win those 2 footy matches and you could be 10 points clear of Arsenal. Before you even blink.
Yep.
You're 5 games in and you're 10 points clear. There's definitely, or you know what I mean, whatever that would be, 8 points or whatever. There's definitely, that is a thing that could happen. But there's also a part of me going, if you can't do 2 or 3 changes for Forest at home and Bournemouth at home, it's like, when do they get minutes? So, for example, McAllister picked up a knock. He didn't play the second Argentina game. He did say he's trained with the team. Does he have to play? Does he have to play? Are we at that stage 2 weeks into September where we have to get this player playing every single football match in centre midfield with no rotation? Are we at that stage? Seriously? Because for me, fella, I can think you can do Gravenberch, Szoboszlai and Jones. Or do McAllister minimum and maximum, an hour. And go, pull him off. When does McAllister get a fucking rest? We have Milan away on Tuesday. And I don't think Milan have won a game this season, I don't think. So they haven't started well. But look, you still got to go to San Siro on Tuesday. You know what I mean, mate? It's like in a big... I would rather start McAllister for the full 90 then and then rest your McAllister now. Do you get what I mean? So I just don't know, Tim. Where are you at with it? Are you just thinking win the next 2 league games, go full whack and see where Arsenal are at?
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, not even only Arsenal. Look, 10, 15 years ago, you could reverse this and you could say, hey, focus on the Champions League. The league is a long marathon.
Yes.
You can make up those points. There's 30 more games and stuff.
Sure.
See, I feel like that has changed now. That's why, you almost have to get, with 115 charges, you have to get 3 points every freaking game. So, if anything, I feel like you can make up the points in the Champions League if need be.
Probably,
and I will roll the dice. West Ham game is an easy one, right? We kind of like do full rotate. And mind you, when you full rotate, your front 3 is still like, Gakpo, Nunez, and Chiesa and stuff like that. So it's kind of like you're like trotting out kids out there. But at the same time, I almost feel like I would rather have us go solids in these Premier League games. And if you take an early lead, you rest guys, and he does well with that. So, he doesn't do the club where people start coming out in the 80th minute or whatever. He does start rotating early, taking people off in the 60 minutes and stuff like that. I would rather do that. And if we have to roll the dice with some rotation on Tuesday against Milan, I would rather do that. I know San Siro is a tough place to go. And yes, they have not won a game. We had 2 draws and a loss so far. But, Champions League nights, San Siro is going to be a different ordeal. But I would rather roll the dice there and then, play safe in the league and lock these 3 points that are easy on paper, but you can make it hard on yourself if you rotate too much.
And that's a very fair argument as well. I think there's a balance, though, Tim. And no disrespect to Forest. And I know Forest, by the way, are actually in half decent form. He mentioned that. He said they were unbeaten in the last 5 last year, and they lost again this season or something. So he said they are in decent form, and I get that. And then Bournemouth at home as well. I just feel like, though, fella, if you can't make 2 or 3 changes, then the trust in the squad just isn't there. For me, I thought Jones played really well in the pre-season in that role, that you could rest McAllister. I do. I understand your point, by the way, the San Siro, when I get it. You can rotate in the Champions League right now. I just feel like you want to get off to a good start in the Champions League. Don't get 3 on the board early. You know what I mean? Like, early get 3 on the board and put the pressure on the other teams then to win theirs. Do you know what I mean? And then you get to, like, the West Ham game. I'm not, by the way, I am, as you probably know, I fucking win every football match. I don't care what trophy it is, you win a trophy. But I wouldn't be sitting there crying my eyes out if Liverpool went out to West Ham Pens. I genuinely wouldn't be. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you're going out to, listen, if you're playing Barnsley or someone at home and you get beat, I'll be a bit fucking more questionable. But with West Ham, I just feel like, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I just feel like, though, mate, with Forest, you can do it if you wanted to do it. You could do 2 or 3. We're not asking for wholesale. I'm not asking for wholesale, at least. I think there's an argument with Canate that you can rest him, because we are worried, and get Kwanzaa to start.
See, we were talking about that, but I can't remember who was on Wednesday that made the good. I think it was Wednesday, that the fact that Konate has not played at all during this break, while Kwanzaa got 2 full 90 minutes. Yeah, you just put Kwanzaa against Milan.
Yeah,
See, my worry is the midfield. I feel like you can rotate up top, not lose a lot. You can rotate a little bit in the back and not lose a lot. I worry about midfield because I feel like the moment you take one of those 3, regardless, I don't think we have somebody who can be plugged in and do as well, or at least make me feel confident that they will do as well.
It's fair, but until they have a chance to show it.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Know what I mean? I know it is a fair comment, though. But I think Gravenberch, Jones, and Szoboszlai could work well. You know what I mean? I do. So maybe that's naive of me, but I do think that could work well. And then I also think there's mate, if you get to stage, mate, if you're Cody Gakpo, to go, I want to fucking start here. Like, I've done really well again in the internationals. He's done well again. He's played well all summer. When he's come off the bench, he's looked lively. I think there's an argument. You can knock on the door and go, not knock on his door, but you could argue and go, you have a fair point to say, I want to start on the left wing here for Liverpool. As much as Luis Diaz has been fantastic, I'm not saying drop him, but I'm saying I'd like to see 4 or 5 subs on the hour. I want Liverpool to be winning 2-0 and making 4 or 5 fucking subs on the hour, because we are about to go into a very, very busy period. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And the last thing we want to do, mate, is get to West Ham where Jones, Endo, Costas, Kwanzaa, Chiesa haven't really kicked the ball. You know what I mean? I don't want that to happen. And I get you get the full, and you get them all full 90s against West Ham. We're all not arguing that. You give them the full 90s against West Ham. But also, fella, you are going to need these players eventually. You're going to fucking need them. Do you know what I mean? So when he's saying those kind of comments, fella, it is slightly concerning. But also, he has to find out himself. Yes, you know what I mean? He has to make mistakes himself.
Yeah, it does sound like a guy who's not sure himself either. He's like, we'll see.
Yeah, he has to make mistakes. He's new on the job. He's going to make mistakes. It's like he's brand new to the job.
I mean, Klopp made that mistake, right? I mean, from having an oxygen mask, McAllister was trotted out there, and we yanked him at halftime because it was the wrong move to put him out.
That was last year. I know. Yeah. Literally last year. So he's always going to make mistakes. Yeah, he made mistakes very early on as well, if I remember correctly. I can't remember the first one.
I mean, it looks like I was just pulling that up, but Diaz last played on the 10th.
Which is Tuesday. So we probably got home Wednesday night. So he's
probably he played against that Argentina game, and that was less. And before that, I was actually pulling this up. I mean, we were talking about Nottingham Forest's form, and obviously we want to kind of like pump things up. But I mean, really, they played Bournemouth at home, which they tied. I mean, yeah, they haven't lost, but really, they've blown some games that you want to get 3 points from as a Nottingham Forest team. Stay up because they beat Southampton away.
That's a good win.
Southampton. But it is away, so we'll give him that. And then they tied against Wolves at home. This is in the league. And then they got eliminated out of Newcastle in the penalties, I think, the EFL Cup.
Yeah.
So it's not like they've had like a really easy schedule, to be honest with you, so far.
And that's fair as well, I think. But I do think for Forest, at least Nuno's going to set them up to be hard to beat. That's what Nuno's like. He plays far at the back. You know, that's what the manager's like. So there's not going to be a glut of goals at Nottingham Forest this year. If they're expecting to go there and see 85 goals this season, then no, because that's not the way they set up. So it's going to be a tough game, I think. I think Liverpool win 2-0. 3-0, like it's just a standard.
A slot special to 2-0?
Yes, a little slot special, yeah. A little slot at 2-0. But, so I do think that, you know, but there's also, Pammy, when you're hard to beat, it does breed confidence for teams. It does breed confidence. Like, if you're the defence now, if you're Virgil and Canata, you go, we're not conceding today. Because we're keeping this record going, we're keeping this going, we're going. You know what I mean? And that's how you breed the confidence, and that's where that argument comes in. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, mate. I do feel like Liverpool should make 2 or 3 changes for this game. I really do.
And you're putting them as like Gakpo as one, you said, right?
I think I would do Jones for McAllister. I think you do Costas for Robertson. I know. And then I also would probably do Kwanzaa. Still, even though he played this 90s, I still would do Kwanzaa. I would love Kwanzaa to start again for Liverpool, but I don't think he will. But then I think Diaz does an hour. And then I would hook a lot of them off after the hour. If Liverpool are winning comfortably 2-0 or something, you know, I would hook a lot of them after the hour mark. You have to get minutes into the.
So you go that way. You go strong and then hope that it goes well and hook them, as opposed to roll the dice, put Gakpo and stuff out there, see if they do something. If they don't, say, hey boys, got to go in and finish this off.
No, I would roll the dice.
You are rolling the dice. So you are starting with
I'll do those 3. I'll do those 3, but then I would probably hook Costas. Because the 11 that started the previous 3 games, I would start that at Milan. I would win the first game in the Champions League. Do you get what I mean? And I would win that one and go to McAllister. You're not even playing this weekend. Don't even fucking show up. You're on the bench. You know what I mean?
And does that mean you also have to do the same thing against Bournemouth? So 2 league games in a row, you're going heavy rotation.
No, I think you can do the rotation now. I think you can start the same 11 against Milan. I think you can go strong, really strong against Bournemouth because it's the West Ham one. Do you get what I mean? So you go. I think you go 3 changes now, full strength, wipeout for West Ham, complete and utter wipeout, and then worry about Wolves the next day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And then that's what I would do personally.
I like that plan. I don't mind that plan. Like I say, my biggest concern is always, as of now, is midfield, because I thought one easy sub you had is gone with Elliott. That was one that I was going to feel confident with, Elliott for Szoboszlai, and I've been like, okay, we're not going to drop off over there.
No, definitely
that's gone. So
yeah, and I mean, again, we don't know what Chiesa is like. This is the other part, we don't know. And again, just for the people who are listening, Chiesa plays 33 games last year and only 6 are on the wing. Everyone else is in the number 10 behind the striker, basically like a Szoboszlai kind of role. Do you know what I mean? I know Szoboszlai's more of an 8 than a 10, but let's be honest, it's only 10 yards on the field. It's not fucking much, is it? So for him to get used to, I would do 3 changes, full strength, wipe the old lads out for the 11 for West Ham, and then bring them all back, because I think Wolves is late kickoff. I think Wolves is R5 away.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So I'll go back to full strength then. So basically, they're getting most of these lads will get the full week off against for the West Ham week. But I would do 3 changes now.
Alisson, Trent, Konate. So that's pretty much the same. Just inserted Jones for Mac, and then puts Gakpo and Diaz.
Yeah, he's still Gakpo and Diaz. Yeah.
So you removed Jota. Oh, Jota. Jota is gone.
I wouldn't remove Jota, fella. I just feel like he's the only one who can fucking, play that 9, roll forward.
How about Nunez, man? It's like lost in the mix. You remember that guy, Nunez?
he's fucking scarred in my mind. How could I forget? Fucking Vietnam flashback when you said his name there.
The posts are taking a deep breath. They're like, oh.
No, the Nunes one's mad, mate, because, again, I don't know. You got to start. You play him 90 against West Ham, and then I think you can probably do Nunes against Bologna, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I think you'll probably do.
You know, like, didn't we say, or like, not us, but didn't people say when
he
came, like, oh, he's like a striker whisperer and stuff like that? You think, you know, Nunes is like, what? I can't hear anything you're whispering, or like, what is going on?
I did call this. I did call what the manager was going to do at the start of the season, didn't I? Nunes is very good. I did call this at the start of the season that the manager would just treat these 3 games as a separate entity and get his best 11 out and win them. And that's exactly what he did. I do think now you will see more of Nunes, which is unfortunate for most fans. But I mean, if you look at I do think West Ham at home, Bologna at home. I wouldn't do them against Bournemouth because I think when Arsenal City are playing each other, you definitely go full strength. Arsenal City are playing each other on that weekend, you go full strength and you win that football match.
I would actually kill for a draw in that game.
I'm sure you would.
I would kill for a draw in that game.
You know what I mean? You know, would you?
Or honestly, depends on this weekend's score. I might root for Arsenal.
I would take Arsenal losing the next 2, so they're gone. I think I want Arsenal to lose.
They're gone. They can just linger around for all I care. They are all these injuries now. I'm hoping I'll be rooting for Spurs this weekend.
Oh,
but if Spurs beat them, then Arsenal can beat City. I really don't care if they're 5-6 points behind us at that stage. I don't need them to like totally be eliminated if they're like 5-6 points away. I think that's a big distance for a team that can't even hold the leads, leave alone catch up.
For me, I think you do. I think I want Arsenal to lose the next 2. I'd rather just be Liverpool and City and Arsenal gone, and Liverpool be 8 points clear, and go. You've got to come to Anfield and win.
Do you want to really deal with City that close? Yeah. I'd rather have them lose the points because I feel like City can look up in the standings and be like, that's fine. You know, they'll be comfortable. I don't look at that Arsenal team looking at the standings and saying, holy shit, we're 5 points behind, you know, Liverpool, 3 points, like 4 points behind City, and be like, oh, that's okay. That's a team. That's an Arteta that's going to freaking like spaz out. His Lego head is going to pop up. So that's what I feel like Arsenal will not be able to deal with that, whereas City would. So I'd rather have City lose points any given time. I'd rather have City be 8 points behind and deal with Arsenal, for example, than do a title change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. If City was 8 points behind and we'll just have a smash with Arsenal, then I've got no issue with that. I think there's a few elements here. Number one, if Arsenal go 8 points behind us, I think they're done. I think mentally they'll just mess with the Reds mentally. I think Arteta's ever fall off. There's a few things that we haven't spoke about. Number 2, City, I think will be like, fucking that's Liverpool again. I do think that's a thing. Like, fucking hell, we've got to win every single game here because Liverpool will get 90. Arsenal have never shown that they can get 90 points. Liverpool have shown it 3 times that they can get over 90. So they're going to say to City, you've got to get over 90. The fair part is, which no one's talking about, the 115 charges hearing starts on Monday, and City could face a points deduction. And then before you know it,
what do you think is going to come out of that? In a world where Chelsea can sell hotels at will, I just don't have any faith in any kind of justice being done.
I personally think they will be banned from transfers for like 3 years. I think that's what they'll go. I don't think they'll take the charges off them and stuff like that. I think they'll get fined massive.
Which is fine because I think them and Chelsea sign every 16-year-olds on earth.
But I mean, but also I don't think Pep will sign a new contract on the back of that because I don't think he could.
No, yeah, exactly.
Do you get what I'm saying? Then I don't think he could be asked. And then you actually look at this and think, I've got one of the most challenging jobs in the world here. Because you can't sign players for 3 years. And you might have Haaland and De Bruyne, but De Bruyne's getting towards the end.
Well, those guys would bail. Like De Bruyne would definitely bail. And you would think Haaland would bail as well.
De Bruyne wanted to go to Saudi this year.
Yeah, exactly. He'll definitely be. He's like, up here, I'm already gone.
So he was gone. Ederson was flirting with...
But point deduction, you think?
Sorry?
Point deduction?
Probably not. But if it is, it might get deducted. And then it might get rescinded kind of thing. But like Everton, kind of...
Yeah, but they still got the deduction. It was just,
But everyone got a couple of points back.
Instead of like doing 5, they were like, we'll do 10, then we'll give 5 back, kind of a thing.
Exactly. It could be something like that. But that's also something to think about, though, if you're a Liverpool fan in a little way. You go, Well, us and City can be like that, then City might get a 10-pointer, then before you know it, Arsenal are out of it and City are out of it. Do you know what I mean? That could happen. Well, let's get it right.
Getting me excited on a Friday morning here, Kyle.
I mean, like, if Arsenal lose the next two, fella, if Arsenal lose the next two and City get it, you know what I mean? There's also a point as well. I think City, not this weekend, they play Brentford at home. Then they play Arsenal, but then they go to Newcastle at half-12 the week after Arsenal. When we go to Wolves on the Saturday night, they go to Newcastle at half-12. That's a tough game at half-12 to go to St. James's Park. Do you know what I mean? So I do feel like there's a point as well if you're Liverpool where you can go, if you win the next three, it's going to be hard for City to win the next three. Where Liverpool go, we got Forest, Bournemouth and Wolves away. I know Wolves away seems tough, but they have just shipped 6 goals against fucking Chelsea at home. Do you know what I mean? There's a part of Liverpool go, if we get 9, it's impossible for City and Arsenal to get 9 because they play each other.
Yeah.
So there's that argument as well. Do you know what I mean? There's a part where Liverpool could be, if we just get 9 points, we're definitely going to be top of the league. Because it's impossible for the other teams to get 9. Do you know what I mean? Like, apart from City, you know what I mean? Then you're tied anyway with them. So, I don't know, man. It's an interesting little stand here. But again, the Champions League's thrown the curveballs in on it. Because the Champions League started so early and it's thrown curveballs at us a little bit. But I do think if you're Liverpool, mate, and I just think you can just, let's get rid of Arsenal, let their head fall off a bit. Because I think his head will fall massively off if he's 8 points behind in September. I think his head will just fucking literally blow up.
Yes, I think so too.
He's one of those players, and their fans have been there. It feels like to me a lot like they're in the Liverpool's 2021-22 season, where every game felt like a fucking cup final. Every game was like, my God, like this is like, even when we won the league, it didn't feel like that because it was over by November.
Yeah,
we knew it was over. Like,
it was actually the complete opposite. It felt like a preseason all season.
Yeah,
like, and like, we lose points. Like, watch and I think that's kind of helped because you kept winning because you felt like that.
Yeah, and I remember Liverpool in the 18-19 season, no, the 19-20 season when we get 97 points, 18-19 it was. I remember we played someone at home. I think we won like 2-0, and it felt like the greatest win of my life. And it was like we just beat a fucking bum at home, and I can't even remember the team. I'm trying to fucking find the game. But I remember we beat a bum at home, and I was just like, what the fuck is happening to me? Like, they're absolute bums. I should be just sitting here relaxed. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
it just got to that stage of like, this is fucking insane. And I think
but that's why I keep going back to that, man. That's where the league is right now. I don't have as much faith in the point deduction, and that's why I feel like we got to get 3 points. Nothing is easy in this league. If anything, you do some rotation up top. I do understand the McAllister concern. So maybe, but I don't think Jones is healthy either. So you would have to put End or somebody there.
He said Jones trained last week. He said that in his last press conference. So 2 weeks ago, Jones was fit. He trained at least, he said. So Jones should have 2 weeks off of training. Jones should be fine. And he did say there's no other injuries in the team. He said that. So Jones should be fit. So there's a party here, mate. Again, you get to that stage. And I think Arsenal, going back to it, they played Brighton at home. And I feel like when they drew with Brighton last week, you could see the players on the pitch like, what the fuck? We drew with Brighton. And it was like really affected them. Like, you know what I mean? And that's when it was like, because I think they knew in their heads, we've got those 2 games coming up. Like, we needed to beat Brighton because you got those 2 coming up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do think, and of course, losing Odegaard to injury.
Yes.
I don't think I could have picked a better one to lose, to be honest, was Odegaard. I don't think I could have picked a better player. If you would, maybe Saliba.
If you picked one.
Maybe Saliba. But I would have said to you, if you would have picked one Arsenal player to get injured for 3 months, who do you want? Odegaard.
Because, I mean, in a team that it's almost like picking off De Bruyne or Rodri, right? You kind of taking the spine and prying it off. So, yeah, I mean, if you told me one guy, I would actually pick Odegaard to take out of that spot.
If you're, I know, I want to talk about the weekend games anyways. This is great. If you're Arsenal now, you've lost Rice. You've got no Odegaard for Spurs away. Imagine I just said to you now, we've got no Gravenberch, we've got no Szoboszlai for Everton away. You'd fucking head will fall off. You know what I mean?
Your head definitely would fall off.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't sleep. Wouldn't sleep for weeks. Right? Never mind. Like, if that happened over an international break, I wouldn't sleep until the game, which is like 5 fucking days. Right? Then my head would fall off. So you get into the stage where they loaned Fabio Vieira last day, I think, to Porto.
Yes.
So they've loaned Vieira. You get into the stage where you're going to do Partey.
Because they brought what is that dude's name? The Spanish kids, but he's injured as well.
So that's what I'm saying. So
God, what is?
Yeah, Marino. Marino's injured.
Yeah, Marino
from.
But he's out as well. He's injured.
He's injured. He got fucking done in training on his first training session. So you get into the stage where you're like, you're going to do Jorginho, Partey, and then bring Havertz back.
See, the only thing I worry about is like freaking like Spurs being overconfident because there's nobody on the other side.
No, I don't think you get that. I think Spurs are always going to play their football, aren't they? They're always going to just go like, Spurs aren't going to change for anyone. But I do feel like it's if you're Spurs, though, you got to think, oh, that's a good chance to beat these here. This is a great chance to beat these at home with your players coming in. If you can get, I don't know if Solanke's fit. I hope so. You get Solanke and Son. It's not a bad fucking. If you look at Spurs' forwards, they're not bad. You know what I mean? With Kulusevski, Son, Solanke, Richarlison off the bench, they're not a bad fucking forward line. It's pretty darn good. So I actually fancy Spurs to beat them. Where are you at with it, Tim? Do you fancy it?
I mean, yeah, Spurs, because they're home as well, correct?
Spurs at home.
Yeah, so I feel like Spurs. The only thing I worry about is the overconfidence. Like you look at the other side, and sometimes you're like, oh, they don't have anybody. This should be a lot easier. Like they almost like they would play harder if they were like full strength. I just don't want them to be overconfident. You kind of have faith in. But then at the end of the day, it is Spurs. That's what concerns me is the fact that it is Spurs. And they could do something Spursy and just fucking like blow it off, even though on paper it looks like should be. I mean, I'm sure they are heavily favorites over like in betting and stuff like that, I would think, especially with Odegaard and Rice being out.
Yeah, it'll be close, I think. I think I just don't know what he's going to do. I don't know how he's going to get his team together. Arteta, I don't know what. I'm trying to have a look at the lineup from the weekend here. He does Partey, Odegaard, and Rice. So you look like it's going to be Partey, Jorginho. I'm looking at the bench here. He's got Kiwior, a guy called Tommy Shefford, Miles Lewis Skelly, Ethan Nwani, Salah Oulad-Miand, and you're like,
sure.
These look like when you were playing Pro Evo back in the day and you had random generated names. These kids, I have no idea who they are. If they broke into
that last one definitely sounded like it.
Bro, if they broke into my house, I wouldn't know who they are. Do you know what I mean? So you're actually at the stage where he does Thomas Partey, Jorginho, and I don't know what else he does. If you move Havertz back, Jesus isn't fit. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, I don't see.
I don't know.
Yeah, that midfield. I mean, you would have to almost like drop down Havertz and maybe put Whiny Face up top.
Who's Whiny Face?
Jesus. Is he around? I don't even see him on the bench on the last game.
He's injured.
Oh, he's injured as well?
Hey, that's what I'm saying, fella. So you might have to do a kid.
Guy.
You might have to do a kid where that's why I couldn't understand when he loaned Fabio Vieira. It didn't make sense to me because you would have just done Vieira and went, well, that's me attacking player.
Yeah, but this is kind of like our situation, right? They suddenly have three midfielders out. I mean, Rice had his own fault, mind you, but I think that was kind of like, oh, we get Marino in, so this guy can go. He was not going to play anyway. Now he's, excess, if you will. So I get that, but hey, couldn't happen to a nicer guy than go ahead. This should have actually a great game for a live watch along. So let's see if we can pull that off.
It's always a fantastic game of footy, Spurs, isn't it?
Yes, that's another thing. Yeah, it's always like hard hitting, and it's like a legit, true like a rivalry.
It's like a flashback in it. It's a throwback game of Premier League football. It's just a mad, hard hitting, and I usually love the refs in these games because they let the game go. Yeah, just let it go. Do you know what I mean? Let them fucking fly at each other and stuff. I love this game of football. It's one of my favorites.
That's a good. I think it's 8 a.m. For us. Well, for me, 6 a.m. for you. Are you going to get up for this? I guess is the important question. Definitely, mate. Yeah. Really? Okay. We'll definitely throw around the concept of the live watch line because I'd be very interested. But before we go, let's end with some predictions. What do you expect? The slot special? Are you sticking with that?
Yeah, I think. No, I'll go one more. I think Liverpool win 3-0. I think I don't think he makes changes. I want him to, but I don't think he does. I think if he does, it's McAllister. He might do one, but I don't think he'll do as many as what I would want. I think he would do one, which will be McAllister for Jones. But I think Liverpool just need to win the next 3 Premier League games. Whatever happens, just win the next 3 Premier League games. But yeah, 3-0 Liverpool. I'll go.
So tempting to go with my special of 3-1, but you know what? Sparky's got me motivated over here. I do feel like, I don't know why, like we get the shooting boots on this one. I go with a 4-1, but I do believe we do concede one, like a stupid Chris Wood header or something like that. Yeah, that bounces around in the box is kind of like a goal. I think this team is going to come. Ryan is going with the 2-0, obviously.
The one thing is, only to ask you, we don't concede many chances, do we? Like we don't concede.
No, that's why I worry about like set pieces and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I almost feel that's like the biggest thing I've seen actually out of Gravenberg this year
He's
is
big, isn't
not
he?
giving away those stupid, like, you know, when he gives away those fouls, it's usually like in midfield and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He used to do a lot of mainly due to over trying and stuff like that, but give away like silly set pieces at a diagonal that can be just crossed into the box. So that's one thing that I really like that he's kind of like taken out of his game. Hopefully we didn't jinx that. Holy 4-0 predictions, by the way. Now you guys getting me worried. This overconfidence only gets me worried. That's
the Gravenberch one, mate. I feel he's big, isn't he?
Yeah.
I forgot how fucking big he was because I haven't seen him play.
Oh,
much.
he's a big dude. He's a big dude.
Big, and he's like 6'2" or 6'3". He's a fucking.
He's like lanky when he runs. Yeah. He's like glides with the ball.
I'm never going to compare him to Patrick Vieira, but he has that build of like just like leggy, lean but strong. Do you know what I mean? Like really like when he runs.
He's thick though, is he?
Sorry.
He's not as thick. Maybe like a younger Vieira was a bit. Like Vieira got like really buff as the
Vieira got bigger over time, but when he was younger in his early 20s, if guys haven't seen him, give him a Google. He's dead like long. He was tall and just lanky. His feet would stick out the ball from 10 feet away. He'd win a ball back with his big long legs. And I feel like Gravenberch just got that about him, and he's just like the way he runs with the ball. He looks powerful with the ball as well, which is nice to see. You know what I mean? So I'm so happy for him, fella. I really am happy for him that he's taken a little opportunity here. Again, small sample size. He probably would have been playing much as Zubimendi would have signed. Let's be fair here. But he's taken an opportunity. And I like that. You've been given an opportunity now. We haven't signed this kid who we wanted to come in and play this role. Let's get it right. I don't think...
You know what? You said that, but let me ask you that. I mean, do you think if Zubimendi was in the squad the first 3 weeks, does he start over Gravenberg? Or does he start over Szoboszlai and pushes Maka up?
No, I think he would have done Zubimendi.
You would think it would be Zubimendi Maka with Szoboszlai up top. Okay.
Yeah, I think Gravenberch should be near as a...
You might be right. I just don't... I'm not sure. That's
No, of course, it's...
But it would be great to have right now where you could sit Maka and play Zubi there.
And maybe that's why he kind of wanted to do it anyway. Maybe it was a bit more of a rotation thing and he wanted these three to play these two roles and we'll just keep swapping these out. And then Jones coming in, playing further forward. I don't know about you, I much prefer Jones in the Szoboszlai role than I do in the Maka role, but it's going to be needs must right
Mainly because I don't like him. I don't know. Let's see if he kind of gets that out of his game. The Jones that was really good was the Jones that wasn't over trying and playing it simple and not hanging on to the ball forever and stuff. The Jones that we saw, I think, in preseason got me concerned because in that role, you don't want to get caught on the ball. As we're building from the back and you're receiving the ball with your back, you do not want. And he got caught on the ball. He hung on to the ball too long. And in the Premier League, you can't afford to do that. Somebody's going to be on your ass instantly. So that's the only worry I have. And because of that, I agree. I'd rather have him in the Szoboszlai role where he's not put in those situations. You can hang on to the ball and do whatever the hell you want more up front on the field, but don't lose it back here where we're trying to build play.
I thought, and I agree with that. He did definitely get caught a couple of times. I do think he played well in the preseason in that role, but I agree with you. I think there's a part, though, fella, you've got to learn to trust, don't you? You've got to learn to trust and go, you know, if the kid's going to get caught a couple of times, then it is what it is. But, you know, as long as you don't get punished for it, of course, and that's the main thing. It's like sometimes with mistakes, it's like, you know, with the United game, Casemiro, for example, makes 2 big mistakes, but sometimes you make those mistakes in games and don't get punished.
Yep.
It gets forgotten about. He just got punished twice, and it looks horrific. But I've seen the best players in the world give the ball away, and chances happen like that. You know what I mean? So for Jones, I feel like, I do think it would have been Zubimendi, Gravenberch, and McAllister, and then Jones in that Szoboszlai with Elliott kind of role, and then 3 kind of rotating there. It's needs must right now. Gravenberch has took an opportunity. I'm so pleased for him. It's a very small sample size. I think we'll know more by the next international.
He played really well for the national team as well. I mean, it's just a matter of like, it could be, you know how it is, man. It's just like a confidence thing. Like the switch flips, and suddenly that confidence is there, and you're playing like crazy. Like Sparky says, if we sign a good defensive midfielder, and you guys might be right, but at the same time, we're talking about it now with all these games coming thick and fast in these periods. It's definitely great to have. I don't think, you know, if that happened, Gravenberg will not take it as being benched because he would show up on a Tuesday or a Wednesday in the Champions League game or the Premier League game. He will be in the starting 11 because you got to rotate.
If Gravenberch,
double pivot.
If Gravenberch maintains the same level of play that he's playing at right now for the whole season, Liverpool will not sign a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, and would you, or like it would be like a young prospect kind of guy, and not like a 60-70 million dollar guy. And
And that's what.
would we be wrong for doing that? Really, I mean,
No, and because there has to be, again, I say this all the time, and with the opportunities come and stuff like that, there has to be a reward for that, for playing
Yeah.
well. But like, go back to the Kelleher situation, there has to be a reward. Your reward is you get out of the club and you play first team football. There has to be a reward for you playing well. Like, you know what I mean? Because if you're Gravenberch, you play 55 games for Liverpool this year, and you're fucking unbelievable, and you've maintained the same level of performance, and then Liverpool go and sign a £70 million fucking defensive midfielder, you'll be standing there going, hang on a sec. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where's he playing? Because you're not going to drop McAllister. So where's he playing? Do you know what I mean? So there's that. So, but that's where opportunity comes in. That's where, opportunity happens in football. Small moments. Nathaniel Klein gets injured. Trent Alexander-Arnold comes in. That's opportunity. He took his opportunity. You don't get back in. Yep. So he has an opportunity now to really cement himself to be, let's get it right. And it's his last chance at a big football club. It's his last chance in an elite level football club. You did it at Ajax. You went to Bayern, didn't work it at Liverpool. Tell you right now, fella, it's only downhill from Liverpool. You know what I mean? So
your next step is like a Brighton or
go to Spurs, something like that. They're not Liverpool. You know what I mean? Like there's like 6 or 8 clubs which are the elite clubs, and then there's the rest. Do you know what I mean? You've had your chance at 2 of them. So this is your second. I wouldn't say Ajax are an elite club. Unfortunately, they have the history, but they're not an elite football club anymore. So this is his last opportunity. You're starting. You're playing well. I want him to play well. I want Gravenberch to be the best number fucking 6 in Liverpool's history. It's like my Darwin Núñez case. I think we all agree with that. Yeah. I want Darwin Núñez to break Ian Rush's goal scoring record. I don't believe it will happen, but that's what I want him to, because he's a Liverpool player. So I think we should all back him while they're playing well. We should back these lads. They haven't let us down this season up to now. They haven't even considered the fucking goal.
Honestly, I can see a Núñez showing this weekend.
I still expect Núñez to get 15 goals this year. I think Liverpool will create enough chances for him to get 15 this year in all comps. I still expect him to get, you know what I mean? There's a lot of Champions League football. There's a lot of cup games coming up. The FA Cup starts again in January. There's a lot of footy matches then. I think we played 2 Champions League games in January. Yes, we do. We played 2 in January. We have the FA Cup third round kicking in. Liverpool could be in the semi-final of the League Cup in January. There's a lot of football to be played, yeah. There was just 3 games in 3 weeks. We're going to see these lads. I do think we will see them. And hopefully
actually remember that he has the ban. So he has not played.
He didn't go.
So he has been training. So I can see him starting against Forest.
Over who?
Jota, who has played 90 minutes during the week.
Maybe he does it. I don't know.
And if you're struggling, you bring Jota in at 60 and say, hey, show him how to finish.
Can you just do down training instead, please, instead of a Premier League football match? But yeah, maybe. And that's a fair point as well. I always think that sometimes if you're in the player's eye line, if you're in the manager's eye line for 2 weeks and you're showing something, then you might get in that way. Because these lads haven't been there, and I know they've been great and stuff. And if Jota, and we know what Jota's like with his injury record.
Yes.
If you do need to get him a little rest, maybe this is the one.
You do throw him, and you do put Jota at San Siro and then have him start against AC Milan.
I think you have to go for the full. I think you have to go with the same team that started United at the San Siro. In my head, I think you have to win the first Champions League game to give you a buffer. I think if you beat Milan and then beat Bologna at home, which I expect, even if you did rotation to still beat Bologna at home, no disrespect, you've got 6 points on the board already, and we anticipate about 15 to 18.
Yeah, so you're halfway there.
You've got 6 already. You know what I mean, fella? Do you think you can get your rests in January, when January is always a bit, packed with fixtures? You just want the international break. There used to be FA Cup replays in January. There's not anymore this season.
Thank God, Jesus.
Exactly. So, I just feel like we will see our lads this year. I just don't know if we're going to see them this weekend. I hope we do. I do. But because I do want 2 or 3 changes. But going back to the Gravenberch thing, fella, he's took an opportunity. He's taking his opportunity. Small sample size, but he is taking his opportunity. Continues to back them, but I don't think Liverpool would sign a defensive midfielder if he still maintains the level of performance that he's putting in now.
Yeah, I agree. Unless you really have ambitions of moving Mecca up, but then what are you going to do with Szoboszlai? But yeah, I mean, more power to him. Nobody's happier than, John might be happier than Gravenberch at this fucking point, but I know Gravenberch has to be happy. So more power to him. Let's see what happens. We'll be here tomorrow for the pre-match, so do join us then. And then hopefully we'll watch our boys take another 3 points. But have an excellent Friday, rest of your day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.